Hi everyone, my name is Barfin. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and I specialize in oncology and lymphedema. In this video, I'm going to show you some hand and wrist exercises for chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. Some chemotherapy agents are neurotoxic and can actually cause damage to our nerves. Most of the common symptoms include numbness and tingling, especially in hands and feet, burning type of sensation, and pain. However, some patients can also experience impaired coordination, muscle weakness, loss of balance, and falls, depending on the severity of the symptoms and specific chemotherapy agents used. Unfortunately, there's no cure, but exercise is one of the most effective and safest interventions to lessen the symptoms and to give you a chance to continue chemotherapy without any interruptions. So in this video, I'm going to show you some strengthening exercises to prevent muscle loss, stretching exercises to improve muscle and nerve stiffness, and we're also going to talk about sensory training. We're going to start with strengthening exercises first. For this part, all you need is either a water bottle, or if you have 1 to 2 pound weights, you can use those as well. I will be only showing you the exercises in this video. However, I do recommend that you perform these strengthening exercises for 2 sets of 10 repetitions with 10 to 15 second breaks between. We're starting with wrist extension, which focuses on strengthening these muscles on the side of the forearm. You're going to rest your elbow on the table with your wrist hanging off the edge. When you're holding your water bottle or weight, make sure you're applying just enough pressure to be able to hold it. If you're gripping it too tight, you might be placing a lot of stress on these muscles. From here, we're going to go ahead and lift the bottle up towards the ceiling as far as you can go without any pain in the wrist. And when we're lowering it down, make sure to control the movement. So we're lowering it down slowly. And you can repeat this for 10 times, taking a 10 to 15 second break, another 10. When you're done with one arm, don't forget to do it on the other side. For the next exercise, we're gonna turn our palm facing up so we can strengthen the muscles on the opposite side of the forearm. I do like starting a little lower for this. From here, we're doing the same thing, which is lifting the weight up towards the ceiling, and then when you're bringing it down, just lower it slowly. So that way you're controlling the movement. The same thing with this, we can do 2 sets of 10 repetitions. If at any point these exercises become easy and you don't feel the muscle fatigue anymore, you can either increase the reps or the sets, or you can also increase your weight 1 pound at a time. For the next one, we're gonna turn our palm facing in, so your thumb is actually facing up towards the ceiling. We're starting a little lower than neutral. From here, we're gonna go ahead and lift the weight up towards the ceiling and lowering it down towards the floor slowly. When I'm doing these exercises, I usually try to make sure each direction is taking 2 to 3 seconds. So for example, when I'm lowering it, I count to myself 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which gives you a good pace. For the next one, you're gonna grab a towel. We're gonna go ahead and roll it. After rolling it, you're gonna go ahead and twist it in one direction. And we're gonna hold it there. Make sure your wrists are neutral. This is our starting position. And since we're not resting our elbows on the surface, it's so easy to shrug our shoulders, so just make sure they're staying down. From here, we're gonna go ahead and twist the towel even a little bit more, so you're turning your wrists. One is pointing down while the other one is pointing up, so they're moving in opposite directions. So when I twist, I usually hold for 1 to 2 seconds, and we're gonna come back to our starting position, which is wrists neutral. Go ahead and twist it, hold for 1 to 2 seconds, and come back to your starting position. Again, we're doing 2 sets of 10 with this. And when we're done with this direction, we're gonna go ahead and twist the towel in the exact opposite direction now. So we can go in the opposite direction. So again, we're twisting the towel even more, holding for 1 to 2 seconds, and coming back to our starting position. So twisted, one wrist is facing up while the other one is facing down, and come back to the starting position. Again, we're doing 2 sets of 10 with this one too. For the next one, we're going to focus on grip strength. You can use a squishy ball for this, or if you have a putty, you can also use that. I personally like using a squishy ball, but if you don't have one, you can also use your towel. So we're going to go ahead and make a ball. We're going to hold it. When you're doing this exercise, make sure your wrist is in a neutral position. From here, we're going to go ahead and squeeze the towel, sinking your fingers into it, holding for 1 to 2 seconds, and we're going to go ahead and slowly release it. Squeezing the towel, 1, 2, and slowly release it. Now that we strengthen these muscles, we also need to strengthen the muscles on the other side so we can have an easier time opening our hands. For this one, you can either use a rubber band that you use in the kitchen, or you can also use a hair tie, which is what I'm gonna use. You're gonna go ahead and place the band over your fingers, so towards the tip of your fingers. Make sure your wrist is in neutral. So we're starting with fingers closed. From here, we're gonna go ahead and spread your fingers out, opening them, wrist in neutral. And when you close them, make sure you're going slowly. So you're always controlling the movement. When you're opening it, just do as much as you can do. If your band is too tight, you might not be able to go all the way out. And when you're coming back to starting position, make sure you're controlling the movement. Same thing, we're doing 2 sets of 10 with this exercise. After you're done with one arm, don't forget to do it on the other side as well. If you want, you can do this alternating, meaning you can do 10 on your left side, 10 on the right side, back to left, and then right. So that way you're also taking a break. Now I'm going to show you some stretching exercises. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to be holding them for 30 seconds. However, when you're doing them on your own, you should be holding these stretches for 30 seconds at least and repeat them 3 times on both sides. But for some reason, if you're not able to tolerate 30 seconds, you can start with 10 to 15 second holds, but you should still be repeating them 3 times on both sides. So the first one is called the prayer stretch. For this one, we're going to put our hands together with the fingers facing up towards the ceiling. You're going to go ahead and lower your hands down as you're pushing your elbows out. Stop when you feel a nice gentle stretch on this side of your wrist. And we're holding this for 30 seconds ideally. Next, we're going to stretch these muscles. For this one, we need to have our elbows straight. We're going to grab our other hand and put it over our knuckles. From here, we're going to go ahead and push our hand down. And stop when you feel a nice gentle stretch, again over here. If you're not feeling any stretch with this, you might be bending your elbow slightly, so make sure it's locked. And if you're still not feeling the stretch, you can go ahead and actually make a fist, which is going to stretch these muscles even a little bit more. We're holding for 30 seconds ideally, but again, if you're unable to do that, you can start with 10 to 15 seconds, and we're going to repeat 3 times on both sides. For the last stretching exercise, we are going to focus on these muscles. You're going to turn your palm facing up, use your other hand again, and place it over your fingers. For this one, we need to make sure our fingers are straight, but also your elbow. So we're going to go ahead and bend our hand, just like this, and stop when you feel a nice gentle stretch on this side of the arm. So this is exactly what we're doing. We're holding for 30 seconds and repeating 3 times on both sides. So these were some of the stretching and strengthening exercises. In addition to those, I also recommend sensory training for my patients with neuropathy. For that, you can grab a bucket or a bowl and fill it with dry and uncooked rice and beans. You can go ahead and soak your fingers in it and play with it. It's better to do this for shorter durations and frequently throughout the day. So for example, you can do a few minutes at a time and repeat it multiple times throughout the day. And you can do the same thing for your feet if you're experiencing these symptoms in your feet as well. That's it for this video. If you liked it, feel free to share it with a loved one who could benefit from these exercises and information as well. If you want to learn more about lymphedema and oncology rehab, you can find me on Instagram. And if you are a cancer survivor who wants to get back to fitness, you can join our CancerFitness support group on Facebook. Both of these links can be found in the description below, but also on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in another video.